What you just said is right. Story. I saw a clip of Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez going on and on about you should have switched the titles in Montreal. It's all scripted, so you should do that. Why don't they do that? And then Dave was talking about, and it's not surprising because Dave Meltzer is so enmeshed in wrestling history. He is probably the greatest. Him and Cornette are probably the greatest wrestling historians we have living today. And that's to their credit. That is a compliment, right? However, the Bloodline story is unique, and you cannot look at it through that lens. Dave Meltzer said Sami Zayn is a bigger ratings draw right now than Roman Reigns. He picked up a bigger number than Roman Reigns did in the ratings on SmackDown, which is and so by that logic, you roll with him. I respectively say that's silly to think of it in that way. Sami in a vacuum wouldn't be a ratings draw. He's right now Roman in a vacuum. Nobody in a vacuum is a ratings draw. Sami is part of the biggest pro wrestling, the most complex, most ambitious pro wrestling story maybe we've ever seen, or at least in modern televised wrestling. And people are tuning in to find out what happens next. And Sami is what happens next in terms of the story. What's he going to say? What's he going to do? But it's all within the context of this story that is playing out. To claim that he is the guy that people are tuning into, yes, because he's in this story. And they want to see what he's going to do as it pertains to Roman and Jay, et cetera, et cetera. This is not a normal pro wrestling story. And so to claim that, oh, he's the guy and this is who you go with, that's just not how the story works.
No.
Because it's an ensemble. There is no main character. Jay's not the main character. Sami's not the main character. And Roman's not the main character. They are all there's this complex web that's being woven right now, a tapestry. That is the draw. That's the draw. The story is the thing. And it's something that we've wanted to see forever.
Yeah. I know it's kind of like an old school mentality where you look at the business through the prism of like numbers, what's popping a number, rather than looking at that number within the context of what's going on. You know, if you just look at the raw number, well, yeah, I guess Sami should be the guy. But if you look at within the context of the story they're telling, as you said, it's all the number pops because people wants to see what the next step in the story is. You know, and you go back to the Daniel Bryan story. Yes, he was popping numbers, but that was also because he was the story. You know, he was the story there. Was his rise back up into title contention after being, denied the title the previous fall.
Yeah.
And there was also that push and pull of WWE seemingly not wanting to really invest in that story. This is not that same scenario.
Right.
Sami is not the whole part of the sole aspect of the story. He's part of it, and it's a major part of it. So is Jay, so is Roman, so is Paul Heyman, so is Jimmy.
Yeah.
They all have a part in the story they're telling. And yeah, you can look at one number and think, okay, well, let's go this way. You're not looking at the number within the context of what's going on.
Yeah. And here's the thing. The story itself is not Sami. I'm sorry, but it's not him. I know that this is pro wrestling and titles are often the symbol of resolution. They're the symbol of conclusion. They're the symbol of, I have achieved the goal of this story. This, again, is different. And that's what I think a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their head around. Jay's story is not beating Roman Reigns for the titles. It's not. Jay's story, what is Jay's actual motivation? It's basically to get out of under Roman's thumb. It's to be his own man. Roman's entire thing was, if you don't let me provide for your family, you're done. And Jay has been mentally tortured and emotionally tortured by that forever. It has nothing to do with the titles. Nope. Sami's entire thing, you say, is to belong. I say it's different side of the same coin, respect. Yeah. When he was a conspiracy theorist, It was all about, I need respect. Why aren't people respecting me? I'm showing everybody why they should be respecting me, and they're not paying attention. He was a conspiracy theorist. He finds out in the bloodline. His thing was never the titles. And right now he's learning that Roman Reigns, who everybody fears, and there's an amount of respect, I guess, with Roman because he has been champion for so long, but nobody respects the man and his methods. Nobody respects a guy who takes his family and manipulates them inside and out. Nobody respects that. Yet he's got the titles. Sami's now learning, I'm not going to have respect just because I have titles. The Intercontinental Championship he thought was going to get him respect. Guess what? It never would have. He's learning that now.
Yep.
Sami's thing is he wants respect, and now he's learning to get that. And I think that's going to be the culmination of his story. And maybe they'll use the tag titles as the symbol of resolution for Sami's story, getting that respect. I think it's going to play in with Jay and Jimmy. And that's
I think
the
also
story they're
with
going to
Kevin
tell.
Owens
And Kevin Owens,
is now that Sami's on the road, seemingly to get Kevin Owens' respect back.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And, that's kind of the first step, I think, with in that process, at least in terms of how it relates to success in the wrestling ring, is he and Kevin Owens are going to have that reconciliation. That's going to lead to them winning the titles. But part of them winning the titles is to feed into the story with the bloodline, and also part of it's the story of Kevin Owens realizing, okay, and Sami too, learning about respect.
Yeah.
Sami earning Kevin Owens' respect back.
I'm still listening. My light.
Yeah,
is
you mentioned the
flickering.
respect and belonging side. They are the two sides of the same coin. Is Sami wants to prove that he belongs, so he can earn the respect of his fellow wrestlers, and also prove to himself that he belongs. That's kind of been his story since he come into NXT. I understand people's passion about the story because it's really engrossing and people are really into it, and that's a testament to how well the story is being written, and people are really behind Sami, and that's great for Sami, and hopefully it leads to greater success like world championships down the line. But in terms of the story they're telling, that's not a necessary resolution, I think, to what's going on, at least not at this juncture. All right, well, Steve's doing what he's doing.
No, I'm here.
You want the mood lighting back?
I'm in dark side of the lighting. I'm dark side of the ring lighting right now.
Yeah.
I'll get this thing working again. But no, I agree with everything you said. Now, the idea of where they go from here is kind of clear. I honestly think they kind of just need to do one simple thing. Now, Sami had told Cody Rhodes, I know how the bloodline operates. I know how they do this. And we saw that play out at Elimination Chamber. So Sami's now going to have to come to grips with, I was good enough. I was good enough to beat Roman, but the bloodline wins, and there was nothing I could do to account for that. He's got to be at peace with it, and then endorse Cody. It's like a politician thing, right? He's out of the running now. You're out of the running. You had your shot.
Yeah.
Bloodline won, and you got to endorse Cody. And if he does that, which he might do tonight or next week on Raw, I don't know.
Entirely possible.
He's got to endorse Cody the way Cody endorsed him.